Epilogue. August 16th, 8 a.m. I was enjoying a card game of Hanafuda with A at the hotel. According to the priest, nearly 30 people left the village yesterday, mostly elderly individuals who would now be residing in nursing homes. A family leaving the village around midnight reported encountering a creature with a height of about 120 centimeters, covered in blood with 6 hands, standing still on the ridge path of the rice paddies. As their car passed by the creature, they found a dog's head at its feet, and it seemed to be playing with the extracted brains, paying no attention to the passing vehicle. According to the priest, this creature is a manifestation of the vengeful spirits of the village's children who were cannibalized. It doesn't harm humans, but toys with animals.
This, too, is one of the supernatural beings sealed in the village,
said the priest.
The phenomena that manifest, the apparitions themselves, and the karma said to be the origin of these apparitions are all released from the village. Entities related to karma and fate attach themselves to those connected with the village, those who know about the village's apparitions, and those who know about karma and fate, expanding their influence. Eventually, when the village becomes deserted, it will likely become a gathering place for these apparitions and the supernatural.
I had no special attachment to the village. I had ruthlessly severed ties with B. Above all, nothing abnormal had happened to me, my family, or A. So, even if the village turned into a gathering place for specters or malevolent entities, I didn't care, or so I thought. According to other families who left the village last, there were about 20 people left in the end, mostly elderly and middle-aged adults. From August 17th, those within the village began seeing dark shadows. These shadows had reddish, murky eyes and chased after people with erratic movements while emitting strange cries. Those who witnessed it claimed to have succumbed to mental illness one after another. A few days after losing their minds, they either committed suicide or ran into the forest near the Shoga-ike while uttering strange cries, or exhibiting abnormal behavior such as attacking family members or attempting to tear their flesh. When someone tried to leave the village, a group of naked villagers reportedly swarmed into their cars. Among those who endured their mental breakdown for a few days, there were consistent reports of them wandering through the village collectively at midnight, naked. They would find people inside houses, jump at them while making strange cries, and then carry them away. In such a situation, the police had no choice but to intervene on August 18th. However, no living villagers were found, no matter how thoroughly the houses in the forest were searched. Instead, corpses were discovered in various places. Bodies boiled in home bathtubs, multiple bodies floating as drowned corpses in a stream, several bodies hanging from trees at the shrine, and the body of B hanging in the forest. All these corpses were found. Next to each of these bodies, what seemed to be a suicide note was placed. The causes of death were mass suicide, accidents, natural deaths, and so on. However, the number of people who left the village and the number of people who died in the village did not match, and it is believed that there are still undiscovered bodies. Regarding this matter, many influential figures in the village arranged to keep the incident as discreet as possible. I asked to show what was claimed to be B's suicide note, and I noticed something unnatural. This is a part of B's alleged suicide note. August 14th, 6 p.m.
By the time this suicide note is discovered, I'll likely be found as a lifeless body. I'm heading to the Shoga-ike forest now. I've written this down to make it clear that I have no lingering attachments. Taro and A, who laughed with me at times and got angry with me at other times, thank you for everything.
The time this note is being written corresponds to an hour and a half before B and I were supposed to meet. By the time B arrived at Aya's and my place, went to the hut, returned to the village, went back to the hut, and was taken away by the shoja, he would already have committed suicide. However, thinking this way raises questions about B, who arrived late at our place, supposedly already dead. If he subsequently took action and interacted with others, then it must have been someone else. Yet, even if B, who arrived late at our place, was already dead and the one who acted afterward was someone else, I still consider him as B. After the police entered the village and, effectively, the villagers disappeared over several days, one of the members of the priest's family committed suicide. While not closely related to A, they had taken good care of her.
Next is us. We must ensure A escapes at the very least,
the priest said. According to the priest, the karma that had attached itself to the villagers who left the village took on a different form after a few days, affecting those with connections. With many villagers now dead and gone, the karma began to act, bringing calamity to those who had left. 10 days after one member of the priest's family committed suicide, A's parents and my parents entrusted us to a facility run by acquaintances of both families. The last words from both sets of parents were, "Purify the karma yourselves." At that time, I don't think we truly understood the real meaning behind those words. Several days later, A's parents and my parents died in a traffic accident, both families perishing almost simultaneously at different locations. They died instantly in a car accident at an intersection. Informed of this by the facility's administrators, A and I cried until our tears ran dry. We couldn't help but feel like we were in a long dream. A few days later, my grandparents and great-aunt died in a fire caused by arson. A few days after that, the remaining relatives of A went to that village and committed group suicide. To be honest, we were too scared to watch TV, but it probably made the news. At the time, we didn't quite understand why we were placed in the facility. Much later, it dawned on me that our parents intentionally severed ties with us, saving us from the brink of karma. I've rambled on quite a bit about the disappearance of the village. I plan to go to the source of the karma and do what needs to be done. In the past, I heard about someone who could purify the karma that had attached itself to me. I visited a village associated with occult practices, where many villagers had died due to those practices. I've inadvertently connected many karmic threads to people. While I cannot purify the karma of this village, by dispersing it among many people, I can weaken its influence. Among those who listen to this story, there might be someone who becomes entangled with the karma of the village. If you find yourself causing harm to those around you, I advise acting calmly.